Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're doing good. This is the part 2 of my previous video. If you haven't seen that one, go check that one first. I'll leave a link in the description box. If you haven't subscribed, then please help me grow my channel. Just hit the subscribe button and give a like. It really helps. So let's get straight to the video. As Giyu and Akaza face each other, Giyu comments on the reason he fights. He doesn't want to battle to his best ability, and he doesn't like battle where opponents continually swing for fun. But now, he had never faced someone who overwhelmed him in the first clash. Giyu states that Akaza's senses are all finely tuned and polished. His own senses are now switched onto a state where only the strong battle, as he finally understands the moments of life and death in a battle truly test their abilities. Tanjiro watches as Giyu unlocks his Demon Slayer mark. Giyu rushes forward and swings, the blade just missing Akaza's neck. Akaza tries to punch his head off, but the Hashira ducks down and swings again, with the demon bending back to escape the strike. Akaza realizes the mark has appeared and his speed has now increased. Giyu uses his water-breathing, fourth form, striking Tide and slices through Akaza's forearm. The latter, however, had attacked as well, and has struck the side of Giyu's head. Tanjiro watches the battle, commenting how, despite Giyu and Akaza are now virtually as fast as each other, Akaza had immediately matched Giyu's newly found power. He knows in a battle of stamina, humans will lose, and despite this battle taking place, the final goal is to beat Muzuna. Tanjiro tries to think how Akaza's attacks manage to be so accurate and how he can also predict attacks he doesn't see immediately. Remembering the moments Akaza mentioned fighting spirit in battle with Kyujuro, he attempts to define it and recalls a conversation he had with Inosuke. Claims that battle spirit feels like a stinging sensation where the enemy is aiming for, Tanjiro believing it to be the reason he could notice Gyutaro's attacks. Inosuke is asked to demonstrate, and he asks Tanjiro to look at a part of his body, which he accurately determines is his right shoulder. As Tanjiro becomes amazed, Inosuke notes that someone looking at him with a murderous gaze is easier to determine where they will attack, and his whole body will sting if said attacker wants to really kill him. However, he becomes angered that someone looking at him without the intent to kill become difficult to notice, remembering how the old lady at the Wisteria house suddenly appeared behind him without him able to notice. He then reasons that if he battled a demon without showing the intent to kill, it would be easy to kill them. But Tanjiro believes it impossible to kill a demon without showing it. Despite remembering it as a childish conversation, Tanjiro notes of interesting points within it and tries to use them with the current battle with Akaza. He believes Akaza does sense something in his opponents and that gives him the edge in combat, but Tanjiro cannot figure out what it is. He tries to think how he can interfere with the destructive death compass needle he uses. Seeing Akaza open from Giyu's blow, he attempts to use the Hinokamai Kagura dance on the upper moon's exposed neck, but Akaza catches the blade without seeing it. As a shocked Tanjiro watches helplessly, Akaza mocks him for his open flank and uses his other hand to strike at Tanjiro's stomach, but only manages to cut him slightly. At that moment, Tanjiro figures out his situation. Tanjiro remembers how his father seemed like a plant. He had never shown any emotional outburst and was always gentle, maintaining his demeanor till his death. Whenever he remembers him, he immediately pictures his soft smile and calming voice. Tanjiro remembers a question he asked him about what he thinks when he performs the Hinokami Kagura. Even as a child, Tanjiro knew that the dance involved performing all 12 moves from night to dawn continuously. Worried about his frail body, Tanjiro asks if he can be the one to do it next year. Tanjiro thanks his son for his concern, but brushes aside his worry, stating that every year he performed it, he never tired. He remembers learning it from his own father, but notes that even though he was younger and healthier then, doing it exhausted him greatly. He figured out, though, the forms had useless moves. What mattered was using the correct breathing and movements, as well as releasing all your strength through minimal movement. Tanjiro states that by doing this, your mind becomes invisible. But to properly do so, he had to find his movement and sensations, utilize all his senses, and gain complete awareness of your body. He tells his son that by doing all this, he can learn to remove unneeded parts of the Hinokami Kagura and learn just to do what is necessary and close off everything else. Tanjiro asks how can he close everything else, and his father responds by saying it's like people closing their eyes to hear better. As he does this, his body will adapt and the movements will become natural. Tanjiro tells him that when your mind becomes invisible, he will see into the transparent world. But this is the end, as his body would have reached its limit. As an amazed Tanjiro asks if he can do it as well, he is told he can do so by working hard and not slacking off, while being presented with new Warages. An incident happened 10 days before Tanjiro's death. A bear had come to the mountain, killing and devouring people. As the Kamado family sleeps through a blizzard, Tanjiro suddenly awakens and gets up, after which he asks his sleepy eldest son to accompany him. As Tanjiro and Tanjiro wander outside, the two encounter the very bear. 2 meters tall and believed to have killed 6 people, a frightened Tanjiro watches his father confront the bear with only an axe in his frail body. Tanjiro apologizes for its hunger, but warns the creature that coming any closer will mean facing him. He tells it that if anything tries to harm his family, he will show no mercy and take its life. As the bear roars and lumbers forward to kill him, Tanjiro swings his axe and leaps up, decapitating the bear before it could move a step. Its giant head drops to the ground. Tanjiro tries to piece what had happened. In that instant, Tanjiro would have to swing twice to get completely through its neck. And with his sense of smell, he realizes Tanjiro never wavered in the slightest. He had no hesitation, fear, no intent to kill with his plant. Like presence, he simply killed it. Tanjiro looks behind and asks if his son had witnessed what happened. A shaken Tanjiro confirms he saw what took place and runs up to hug him. As he tells his son to never forget what he saw, Tanjiro looks back and realizes this moment was a form of training his perception. He was supposed to learn to see into the transparent world like his father, grandfather, and great-grandfather and great-grandfather before him. They would have had to learn in this way. He finally understands his father's words and thinks back when he managed to suddenly dodge Akaza's strike that seemed about to connect. Though it would have surely killed him, he managed to escape. For just a slight moment, when Akaza grabbed his blade and was poised to swing, Tanjiro had entered the transparent world, seeing Akaza's muscles through his body as he did to hunting. Managing to close off other scents to dodge something unavoidable, his body became even faster. Apologizing to Inosuke for doubting him, Tanjiro steals his resolve that while Giyu battles Akaza, he will use this new power to his best ability and beat the demon. Having seen the transparent world momentarily, Tanjiro realizes his own movement and speed had increased greatly. He was able to see how Akaza's body reacts in battle and concludes he may be able to behead him if he removes his battle spirit to avoid his senses. Akaza begins to overwhelm Giyu, the latter having used all his water-breathing forms only for Akaza to immediately adapt to them all and anticipate what he uses. The Upper Moon decides to finally kill him, commending the Hashira for lasting this long in battle. As Tanjiro attempts to enter the selfless state, Giyu tries to strike the demon's head directly. Akaza responds by dodging the blow, then using the side of his fist to break Giyu's Nichiren sword without getting harmed. As Giyu becomes stunned at having his sword broken, Akaza farewells him before crouching down and going in to punch through his stomach. Suddenly, Akaza's hand falls off, saving Giyu from getting hit. Tanjiro has managed to enter the selfless state and bypass Akaza's compass needle. As Giyu looks on at Tanjiro's new appearance and power, Akaza's body becomes stricken with uncertainty at Tanjiro's changed aura. He deploys his final form, technique deployment final form. Blue-silver chaotic afterglow. Giyu looks at this new threat and is uncertain if he can negate this with his own dead calm. Tanjiro, however, seeing into the transparent world again, is able to detect the attack with his increased perception and vision. Giyu is unable to beat Akaza's new technique and is knocked back against the wall, his water-breathing, 11th form. Dead calm, unable to handle the force. The demon commends for surviving such a large number of fatal blows and tells him, "Don't die like Kyojiro and Kanjiro, become a demon Gaizio." However, the water Hashira becomes confused, wondering how Akaza can state that he killed Tanjiro with Tanjiro standing behind him. Realizing maybe he is unable to sense his partner, he mutters to Tanjiro to go for the neck. Now that Akaza is unaware, Tanjiro calls out to the Upper Moon and declares he will decapitate him, annoying Giyu for announcing his attack out loud. Akaza retaliates by attempting to swipe the Demon Slayer's head, only for Tanjiro to duck down to safety. Akaza wonders how he is able to avoid his final form, but assures himself that his compass needle will sense any attack with his battle spirit high. Suddenly, he notices he cannot sense anything, seeing Tanjiro as completely different from before and shocking him. With his battle spirit seemingly gone, Akaza tries to calm himself and believes he will be able to sense an attack. Without warning, his head is sliced off by Tanjiro using the Hinokami Kagura, setting Sun Transformation. With Giyu stunned at Tanjiro's feet, Akaza declares this impossible, unable to sense what happened. Despite being beheaded by Tanjiro, Akaza internally reflects on the battle spirit of people. He had never encountered someone who could remove theirs, commenting that fighting Tanjiro felt like fighting a plant. Despite his senses and compass not working properly on the battlefield, anything unexpected can happen. He notices Tanjiro managing to surpass his own speed in a short time, but his eyes showing no intent to kill. Akaza believes Tanjiro has achieved the selfless state he so badly wants to attain, something he believes he should have done so now. The upper rank tries to put his head back on his neck, now with the resolve to continue fighting. However, Giyu flings his broken sword at his head, knocking it away from Akaza's grasp. The upper rank repeats his drive to continue getting stronger as his head disintegrates. Tanjiro becomes relieved but immediately stiffens up due to his body hitting his limit. However, upon seeing Akaza's body not disintegrating, Giyu and Tanjiro worriedly looks on. Akaza's body activates technique development, destructive death, compass needle again, and immediately attempts to hit Tanjiro's neck. Though he barely misses, the demon changes stance and hits Tanjiro square in the side, knocking him away. Tanjiro realizes Akaza is trying to make his head a weak spot no longer. Similar to Muzan earlier, he tries to get up but faints due to his body finally reaching his limit. Giyu sees Akaza going for his unconscious comrade and uses water breathing, fourth form, striking Tide to stop him. Though the cuts instantly heal, Giyu then declares that if Akaza wanted to kill Tanjiro, he would go through him first. Giyu takes his stance to fight again. Akaza sees his indomitable spirit, one that doesn't bend in the face of any obstacle. Suddenly, he sees the same man from earlier, who comments that, "We carry swords in our hearts. We only use our fists." Calling the man an eyesore, Akaza moves forward to engage Giyu, but is internally held back by the vision of a young woman. Wishing Hakuji that's enough. So that's it, guys. It's getting long than I expected, so I'll be making a part 3. Till then, go watch my other videos. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button and a like, and leave a comment and I'll do a shout out in my next video. Till then, bye and keep being awesome.